Nico, a new week, new opportunities in a different competition. We heard from you after the Wycombe game, but do you have any reflections on the match against Bolton?
Yeah, I'd probably go bigger than Bolton, really. I think that our Christmas period as a whole, I think we've seen a lot of stuff that we're really happy with. We've controlled games. I thought against Bolton, it was the most in control we've been against a team of that stature. With the ball, we dominated for the most part. We were comfortable. We created chances. Without the ball, it's probably the best we've pressed and the most comfortable that we've been, albeit they caused us a few problems with long balls down the sides. And I think that's the hard part, is letting the players understand and making sure the players understand how much they did well and how many good things came out of that game. But also, if we're to take the next step, if we're to become the team that we think we're capable of being, those big moments and those bits at the end of games where your thinking has to be clear, your decision making has to be good, your concentration has to be on it, they're the bits that have let us down. In those, as much as I think we're unfortunate with some refereeing decisions at Wycombe, we still had opportunities to see that game out in the way that we would like it to have ended, and the same against Bolton. We were in control at the end of that game. Their first goal comes from our free kick, where it's easy to say it's a defensive mistake at the end of it, but there's 5 mistakes in 20 seconds that lead to it before, through 4 or 5 different players. So it's not an individual thing. We'll always win together, we'll always lose together, and we need the lads to really understand how much good they've done, how far they've come, but also we're still in a position where everything's on the table, everything that we want to achieve this season. Obviously the FA Cup this weekend, but in the league, everything's there for us. But we have got to make sure that when we find ourselves in those positions again, 1-0 up against a team like Bolton with 5 or 6 minutes to go, that we see that game out our way. And that's not kicking the ball as far as we can and hoping for the best. That's being brave to play. That's making clear, proper decisions. If we are playing long, we're playing long with quality. We're playing long into an area that's a problem for the opposition to defend. We're not just kicking and hoping, and we're not just getting loose. And we know that's cost us in these last couple of games. It's really disappointing, but at the same time, when we sit down, as we have done, and debriefed, we know that there's a whole lot of good come out of this period, and we've done a lot of things right.
In respect of those positives that you've taken from the Christmas period, then how do we ensure that we take those into what is potentially an exciting FA Cup tie?
Yeah, no, we stick to our process. We prepare properly. We work hard today. We work hard tomorrow. We give enough information to know what's coming from Oxford and to try and nullify their threats, and we make sure that we really work hard on the things that we do well. I know it can be quite boring sometimes for fans to listen to these things when you talk about process, but there's no magic wand. If it was as easy as just telling a player once and they did it, we'd all be Pep Guardiola, and even Pep's had his struggles lately. So I think being able to stick to a consistent message, being able to buy into our philosophy, being able to look back a season or two ago and see how far we've come. You can lose sight of that sometimes because you're so caught up in the moment of what football is, and we know that we're doing a lot of things well. We know that we've come a long way in a lot of areas, but we're never willing to sit back and go, well, ain't that great? Because we want more. We want more for these players. We want the opportunity that's there. We want them to go and take it. No regrets at the end of the week, at the end of the month, at the end of the season. So it's difficult, and it's difficult doing these interviews every single week, where for us we do have to stick to that. We can't get carried away with anything different, but I'm sure the fan base wants to know, how we're going to make sure that Bolton doesn't happen again, and how we're going to finish in the top 10, top 6, and how we're going to beat Oxford. And it does come down to day by day work, minute by minute coaching and detail.
Away from league action then this weekend into the FA Cup, we've seen with particularly the first game against Barnet that form goes out the window. Anything can happen. It could be a crazy game or a more simple one in terms of Chesterfield. It's the FA Cup, isn't it? And that's what we love about it, is that you truly do not know what's going to happen until that game kicks off.
Yeah, and we're familiar with Oxford. Obviously, we've played them over the last few years. They've got a lot of players that are still there, that are still involved. A new manager, obviously, and a little upturn in form over the last few weeks. But the FA Cup is a great leveller. we want to feel the excitement, we want to feel the history, we want to know the opportunity that we've got to create more history and more opportunity, and to be able to sit and watch that fourth round draw with real excitement. But when all that's said and done, we've got to reel it right back to just making sure that we're ready for what's coming. They're a good team, they've got good players, they've got a manager who's been there, seen it and done it. So it's business as usual for us, but with a whole lot of stuff on the outside of it that you want the fan base to enjoy. You want to enjoy yourself at some point, and the best way of doing that is to get a result and beat Oxford.
I think I know what you're going to answer to this one, but the first two matches in the FA Cup, we were the higher ranked side against the League Two and a National League side. We now go into the game as the lower ranked side against the Championship outfit. Does that change the attitude of how we go into the game? No.
We just know that the feel will be slightly different. The psychological side of it will be slightly different. You know, like you're under pressure when you're the bigger team because you're expected to win. But the team from the lower league has to make sure that they do things to the best they can do it, because there's no room for error when you play teams higher up. I think, you know, Chesterfield would probably tell you that, and Barnet, when they got ahead and they were having the game that they were having, we still had enough to get past them. We need to make sure that we're on it all the way through this game. We need to make sure that we try and dictate with the ball. They're going to be really dangerous when they have the ball and they have their opportunities, but it's a winnable game. We've know more than enough about them to know that we've got a real good chance in this, but if we're not at it, we'll get hurt, and that'll be the end of that. So,
quick maths, I think it's 44 years since the last time we were in round 4 of the FA Cup. So it's really exciting what could be at stake when it comes 3 o'clock on Saturday.
Yeah, I'm not as cold as I might come across sometimes in these things. The last round, the third round, I sat there with the kids. We watched the third round draw. It's exciting. It's fun. You just don't know what might happen. We've got to earn the right to get that feeling again. So yes, there's a magic of the cup. There's a different feel to it. And that, I think, is something that people need to enjoy, but not the players. The players need to enjoy that after, when they've done their job to the best of their ability and when they've got through to the next round of the cup. And that's just the reality of professional sports, who we are and how we need to prepare. But there will be a passion and excitement, a buzz about the place on Saturday, hopefully, and a good crowd there to watch.
Just to finish then, we'll discuss squad availability. Of course, FA Cup, you can name an extra 2 players on the bench. Does that mean there's opportunities for other players to get more minutes, and for perhaps some younger players to get some experience to be in that first team environment?
It's all earned. We've got 2 more days. We've still got decisions to make on who plays, and we've still got decisions to make on who's on the bench. So the lads have to go out there and know that they're going to earn it today, they're going to earn it tomorrow. We'll make those decisions, and then, although you've got 9 subs, you can still only put 5 on. So even then, you want to be the guy who's the finisher, ready to come on and finish the game. You're not there just for the experience of being a finisher. So yeah, we've got a competitive squad. We've got a lot of good, fit players ready to go. And we've got competition for places, so that's where you want to be.
And are any of the injured players close to a return?
Sonny Cox will train today, but it'll be a bit too soon for the weekend. Generally speaking, that's pretty much it, I think, at the moment. Marnie Richards has picked up a knock. He'll be out for another week, but not far away. So yeah, other than the obvious ones that you all know about now, there's nothing too concerning.